Larry King. Shawn Southwick getting divorced again. Remember, they filed a couple years ago. They reconciled, but now Larry pulled the plug yesterday and filed...
On his marriage.
Pulled the plug on his marriage.
Right.
We're going to get to the other part in a minute.
Yes, well, it's relevant.
But he claims, we found this out, he claims that when he was really sick a few months ago, Shawn came to him in his hospital bed and said, here, sign these papers. And the papers would have changed his will trust and given her more property and kind of screwed the kids out of their inheritance.
And their sons, who are now 19 and 20, heard about this, and they looked at the papers and they thought, our mom is trying to screw us over here, and this is an outrage, and they are the ones who suggested to Larry... urged Larry to... You don't have to whisper like we're history.
Fair point.
Urged Larry to get the divorce, and he took their advice.
Now, on her side, what we're told is that, number one, I find this interesting, it was only one son, they're saying, which is interesting. Secondly, they're saying, yes, she did go to him with papers, but the reason she went to him with papers is because she was told by doctors that he was dying, and that their estate planning lawyer...
Dying, and they said, by the way, that he had days to live.
Days. And that their estate planning lawyer had told them that they have to update their documents, their wills, their will and trust, and they both agreed to do that. So she was merely executing what the lawyers told them to do, and she denies that she was in any way trying to take the inheritance away from the kids.
Right.
So that's her position. But we are told, and we just put this up on the side a few minutes ago, she says that he has really been sick and is dying. I mean, that's her position, and that, by the way, in April, in the same ICU unit as John Singleton at Cedars-Sinai.
Really?
Yeah.
There is something always a little bit hinky, or a lot hinky, about somebody presenting a dying man. They thought he was in his deathbed, the final throes of life, you know, last couple days. Always something strange about presenting that person with documents to change their will and trust at that point. I mean, Larry King's been wealthy for a long time. Presumably he has lots of lawyers who've been advising him for over a long period of time. And he's had young children as well, so he's presumably taking care of them. The idea that she's going to present him papers on his deathbed really does raise some eyebrows.
Well, I mean, but if the lawyers are telling her to do it...
yeah, but where were they a month before?
And to Jason's point, that if the will needed updating, it's not like he's 34 years old and is going to live for another 50 years. He's 85 years old and sick. So if the lawyer's saying you need to do it, it's not like, let's hang around until he goes into the hospital in cardiac arrest or something.
To your point about Larry being, being that ill, we saw Shawn, this may have been the last time that we got her out. She was at LAX. It was actually not one of our photographers, but and it was on June 7th. That date is interesting because in Larry's divorce documents, he lists their date of separation as June 6th. So
it would be the day after.
I'm wondering if the documents were presented to him on like June 5th or something like that. But anyway, this is what she had to say about Larry. If she knew that they were separated and things were bad, she didn't let on at all.
Everyone wants to know how Larry, everyone's concerned about him. We haven't seen him.
Thank you. He's good.
Are we going to see him out again?
100%. You will.
We are.
100%.
All right.
Yeah, he's good. He's
how soon can we see him out? What's his message to his fans?
His message to his fans is thank you for your thoughts. Thank you for your prayers. Coming back.
All right.
Stronger.
Does not sound like they're separated at that point.
No.
And again, people list dates of separation. We have no idea if it's true.
She may not agree with that date.
We are told from his side, the trigger were the kids. She says one kid, but it is interesting she's conceding one kid.
One of the sons was.
So anyway, it's kind of a mess. But Larry has filed. She has not responded to the. And remember, they both filed a couple of years ago, and they got back together. Yeah. This is his 8th marriage, by the way. 7th wife, 8th marriage.
Hey, Harvey and Charles. It's Rufus and Jenny Triplett in Powder Springs, Georgia.
Hi there.
As a married couple of almost 30 years, we know that not everyone knows what goes on behind closed doors, not every little detail.
Got that right.
And if this is his 8th divorce from his 7th wife, then maybe he needs to do some self-reflection and figure out what the problem is, because he's the common denominator.
I hear what she said.
I hear what smart man.
Oh, wow.
Smart man.
By the way, go on.
I was just going to
Don't
say,
let him go.
I think it's a little late for him to be doing self-reflection.
Well, he might get
right?
married again if he gets divorced. He likes marriage.
Maybe. By
Hey,
the way,
guys.
on the opposite, good. What are we going to say?
Hey, Jenny.
I know what's coming.
Yes.
Do you know crown molding is so vastly underrated? Crown molding is awesome. I'm serious.
Thank you, Harvey.
I mean it. It's underrated.
Hey, this guy.
Rufus, did you put it in? Rufus, you did the crown molding?
There you go.
Nice.
Okay.
Good work.
We're going to move
I was
on.
going to say, on the opposite side of divorce, they were married 22 years, almost 22 years.
Right.
Sorry, they're not going to get to 22. But I just want to say congratulations to my sister who's been married 20 years today.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Yeah.